going to be on buffing, but I'm going to back up. So you guys who are regular subscribers, you might want to fast forward through this part because I'm just going to go over real quick again about DA. This is for new subscribers. It's going to be the very basic stuff about sanding. First thing you want to do is you start out with, I use 1200 on a DA flat with no pad. A lot of guys will tell you you're going to get swirls in it. I'm going to show you how to get rid of those real quick. But I use a DA. If you're first time buffing, you should try this all by hand. You should do the 1200 by hand with a block so you get the feel of what you're taking off. Because if you just start with the DA first time, you might end up sanding through. So, but it doesn't, it takes quite a bit to sand through unless you have a high spot or something like that in your body work. Well, I usually start with 1200. Then I switch to, actually, I can't find my 2000 or 1000 right now, but I go to a 1000, and what the 1000 does is takes out all of those tracers, little things from the DA, because when you use the DA without a pad, a lot of times it will, but the reason you want to use it without a pad is to knock down your orange peel. This takes place of your blocking by hand. If you want to get rid of orange peel, you're going to have to use a hard block. If you do it by hand with a DA, you can use it without that. Then I switch to 1000 Mirka Abralon. Okay, this is a padded. They also have one by 3M. Also, Saya has Karat. It's a really good one, but that sucker is super expensive. It's a diamond cut. One paper will do like 2 cars. So it sometimes is worth it if you're a big shop or something like that. The guys use the Saya. So then I use that with this pad. And what this does is, because it's a softer finish, what you do is you end up with less, with what it does is that this, because of the pad on here, will actually, when you sand, it won't leave those swirl marks in it, the little swirls, tracers from the sander. So then after I do that, now this is where the guys can chime in that haven't watched before. I'm going to show you guys the steps of buffing one at a time, and then how to buff corners and edges and stuff like that without damaging or anything. So then you want to start with, this is a cheap pad. You can get a better quality one. I would just at a paint store that's kind of expensive, and I thought I'm just going to get the cheaper one for now. But you start with one of these color, the orange or whatever they are, pads. This one here says right on it, compounding pad. So it's the first pad you use is a little bit coarser than your other pads that you're going to use for your finish. With that, you use, now I don't use any lamb's wool anymore because it used to work really good on the old stuff because you needed it because the finishes were harder. Now the stuff is more rubberized. People will tell me, oh, it's harder now. Yeah, it's because it's more rubberized. It's not harder. It's more rubberized. It's better for flexible parts and bumpers and stuff like that. But the first process is to use Menzerna 1000, and you can almost do this alone and be done. And pretty much you're not going to have much for swirl marks. You're not going to have almost anything in your finish with just this product alone. So I switched from 3M. I used to use the 3M system and perfected system, and this is just totally hands down way better. So, and it's about the same cost, so maybe a little bit less. These products are available on eBay. That's where I get them from. Nobody around here even knows what the hell they are. So anyway, I found this out from just forums and stuff like that, and then now I'm just sharing this on video so that you guys can learn as well. So I'm going to demo right now how you do this. So this took me a while to learn. For those of you guys who I did this many years ago. I was a painter in a body shop. I worked at a place we did BMWs, Mercedes. all different types of cars, and I just hated people. I just decided that that wasn't for me because everybody's an asshole when it comes to their car, and they don't want to pay anything, and it's just like, you know what, that's for someone else, not for me. So you put a dot of the 1000 on your pad, and then hold it down, and then since if you have a buffer that has low speed, this one used to, but it's a Harbor Freight one. If you don't have one of these, you can get one of these at Harbor Freight. They're about, if you find it on a sale day, 27 bucks. $29 is a pretty good deal. Drop a coupon, 20% off. It's not a bad buffer, but just like every buffer, the extension cord goes out pretty quickly, and the switch. So, but the motor itself, I've yet to have one break as far as the motor goes. So if you don't have slow speed, trigger it a few times like that. What that does is it works the stuff into the pad. And then when you're doing edges, you either want to do, you see how I'm triggering that? That's to keep the buffer from not going too fast. So if you don't have a progressive speed buffer, you should be running on a low speed when you're getting around these edges and corners and stuff like that. If you don't have that, you can do it by triggering it. Back years ago, we didn't have slow speed buffers, so I'm used to doing it on a trigger. So it's no big deal to me when this thing is the first thing to go out, the speed. You know, actually I think it kind of works. Sometimes on a slow speed you do your edges. It's working right now, but it won't in a few minutes. Hold it in tight. And then at some point you're going to have to get it to go a little bit faster even on those edges. So I usually trigger it then. And kind of lean the buffer just a hair. You want it to be mostly flat. With this kind of pad, you're buffing flat. With the lamb's wool, you buff on an edge. With these, you're always flat. So you just barely put it on an edge like that when you're doing your corners. Notice I'm just barely leaning on an edge. I usually have a handle on here. My handle one's broken right now, but that's cool. You can do it with anything you need. Just barely put it on the edge. Now you see the product starting to dry out. That's when it's really doing the buffing. If you can see it, that's getting pretty shiny. So then what you need, let me get it. So what you need is your trusty squirt bottle. I got this from the dollar store. I don't spend a lot of money. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of cheap. So, but you know, sometimes I am not. But on some of the stuff I am. Give it a couple squirts, and what that does is two things. That's going to cool the surface, and it's going to lubricate for continuing buffing. If I can find my buffer. To continue buffing, and what it does is with the Manzurna, that'll re-wet what's on the pad. If the other ones, sometimes it doesn't work as well if you use 3M. I don't find it to do very much, but this stuff, it just re-wets it. Notice I'm going in cross motion too. That helps sometimes to get the direction out of your buffing. And when you go cross motion, sometimes it takes the marks out, you know, and puts them a different way, and it actually helps cut. So anyway, so I've got Let me looking at this section here. It looks pretty good. And you want to look for your edges, especially where you'll see the sanding, and then the part where it's sanded and part where it was not sanded, because usually you're not sanding all the way into the corners. Please don't. It's really hard to get out, really hard to buff. Some guys do, and it just takes hours and hours to do. I just leave that part alone. And then what I do is I get the whole section. So I'll do the whole car with this buffer and with the 1000. But I'm going to switch over right now to the other product and the other pad just to show you the other way to do the way to do it the right way. So then after you've done the whole car, but I'm just going to do this one section just to show you for an example for yourselves to learn how to do this. If you if you haven't done it in a long time, you want to watch this whole video and subscribe to learn the new stuff, because it is different now than it used to be many years ago. So you use a finishing pad. Now there's even a better one. This is the black finishing pad. There's even a blue one that's even works better. I don't know where mine's at right now. I don't feel like digging around looking for it. I think it's in my other building. But this product with the Menzurna 4000 that I'm going to show you in a second, you don't even need to use hand glaze or anything. You can even use one of these pads and you're done. It'll be so nice. You won't have a swirl mark. You won't have anything in it to hand glaze out. So it's just so much easier than the other products. And I'll show you what hand glaze is too, in case you feel like doing it. So this is what you're going to use right here, Menzurna 4000, SF 4000 product with a finishing pad. And it really, you won't spend much time on this. It's almost perfect the way it is right now. I mean, there really isn't any swirl marks to speak of in it right now with the 1000. That's how easy this product is versus the 3M. You have to use the swirl mark remover. It just looks like crap until you do that. It's really cloudy and everything. So but let me show you real quick how this works. So I've installed my finishing pad on. I always bump it real quick with it on to make sure it's centered pretty well, otherwise it'll be so wobbly. Now this one's a little bit off. I usually will recenter it so it's nice and smooth and easy on your body while you're buffing. Do the same thing you did with the other product. You just put a little dot right on the pad. Small, you don't even really need that much. I mean, half of that's okay. In fact, right now there's so much on this pad that all I would really need to do is wet it. But I'm just showing you how to do this when you have a brand new pad. Now, you do this until your stuff starts to dry out, and then switch over to your squirt bottle. Just give it a little more stuff to keep it lubed. Sometimes it'll even start to smoke. So that was actually done after the first shot, okay? But I was just showing you after that. That's how long you have to spend, not any longer than that, on the final, because it's almost perfect the way it is. Then you want a microfiber cloth. These are the best place I found to buy these is not Harbor Freight Tools. It's not the dollar store, but it's Sam's Club, because these have a softer, it's better for soaking up water, where I've gotten the ones from like the dollar store and they don't soak up water. So they don't, I don't know, they just don't work as good. So Sam's Club, or but they probably have Costco too. I don't have a Costco membership. The place is way too crowded for me. I hate that place. It's long lines. If you like long lines, go to Costco. If you just want to go in and get your stuff and get the hell out, go to Sam's Club. It's almost the same thing. And but who likes Sam Walton anyway? But it's great stuff. So anyway, let me show you the finish when you're done. And if I could get this outside, maybe I'll push it out real quick and show you in the sun what it looks like. But there is no swirl marks. There is virtually nothing. In fact, there was a lot of dirt in this, and you might see one or two little wiggly guys from the dirt. But let me push it outside and we'll take a look. Alright, so here we are outside. There's a couple of little tiny waves in the body, but there's certainly no clouds in anything. It's super crystal shine. Partly it's because of the clear I used, but it's also mostly Manzurna. If you watch some of my other videos, there's another turquoise green bug that I used the 3M stuff on, and actually later on, after the pictures, I actually rebuffed it with Manzurna because I just didn't like the way it looked. It looked like crap. I ran over it in 10 minutes, the whole car. I just ran it with the 4000 and it looked just like this car does. So this thing looks really good. I'm happy with that finish. So anyway, that's the buffing from the beginning to end. So you new guys that are just looking at my videos for the first time, you want to subscribe. There's going to be a lot more stuff on body, paint, how to do your own stuff from home. And I do everything pretty much unedited. This is just paused and then I just show you what I got. You know, I'm not going to sit here and make beautiful edited videos with music and crap like that nobody wants to see. This is just the raw stuff, how it is, real life, no BS, no frills. You know, we're just going basic on this channel, and mostly car stuff, a couple of odd things like political views here and there, and a few other things. If you don't want to watch them, don't watch them, you know. But the car stuff is going to be pretty much good stuff that you can learn. All right, talk to you guys later on the next video, and we'll see how it's going.